The crystal champagne flute shattered in my grip, sending tiny shards and mimosa across the marble floor of the Stone family's parlour. Nobody moved to help me clean it up. Instead, 12 pairs of eyes watched as I knelt in my cream silk dress, carefully picking up pieces of broken glass while my mother-in-law's laughter echoed off the vaulted ceiling. I'm Daphne, and this was the moment I decided to destroy my husband's family. "Oh, darling," Delilah's voice dripped with false concern. "Leave that for the maid, though I must say you seem more comfortable down there than presenting your little, what did you call it, tech charity." My cheeks burned as I stood up, forcing myself to meet her gaze. Just moments ago, I'd been standing before their Sunday brunch gathering, explaining my vision for a non-profit that would provide coding education to underprivileged teens. I'd spent weeks preparing this pitch, believing that maybe, just maybe, my in-laws' philanthropy network could help make it reality. "It's not just a charity," I said, keeping my voice steady. "It's an investment in future innovators who just need a chance." "Sweetheart," Hugo cut in from behind his newspaper, not bothering to look up. "These street children need basic education first. Programming, really? Let's be realistic." Caden, my husband of 8 months, shifted uncomfortably in his chair. "Maybe we should discuss this later, honey. The Carmichaels were telling us about their new yacht." "Yes, Daphne," Delilah smiled, gesturing to her friend Margaret. "You should hear about their Mediterranean plans, much more suitable for a young wife than playing schoolteacher to, well." She waved her hand dismissively. I felt my throat tighten. "I was a software engineer before you married up. Yes, dear, we know." Delilah's smile didn't reach her eyes. "But you don't need to work anymore. You should stick to shopping and planning our charity galas. Leave the serious philanthropy to those who understand it." The room tittered with polite laughter. I looked at Caden again, silently pleading for support, but he was already deep in conversation about yacht specifications. That evening, I sat alone in my walk-in closet, the only space in this mansion that felt truly mine. My phone buzzed with a text from my best friend Hallie. "How'd it go?" I started typing. "They laughed, all of them." My fingers trembled. "But they don't know who I really am." Another message popped up, this one from an unknown number. "Saw your proposal for Tech Future Foundation. Interested in discussing privately. No connection to Stone family. Check your email." I hesitated, then opened my laptop. There it was, an email from an anonymous account requesting a meeting at a downtown coffee shop tomorrow. My phone buzzed again. Caden. "Mother's upset about the scene at brunch. Come downstairs and apologise?" I stared at his message, something cold and hard crystallising in my chest. 8 months ago, I'd left my job, my apartment, my independence, all because I believed in love and family. Now I saw the truth. I'd married into a cage gilded with Cartier bracelets and Hermès scarves. Opening my notes app, I typed, "They think I'm just an ornament, a social climbing nobody who got lucky. They see my background as something to be ashamed of, my ambitions as jokes to be laughed at over mimosas. But I remember who I am. The girl who coded her first program at 12, who put herself through college, who never needed their money or approval until she made the mistake of falling for their son. Today they laughed at my dreams. Tomorrow I start making them real, without their help, without their name, and someday they'll choke on their champagne when they realise what I've built." I hit save, then texted Caden back. "Coming down now." As I descended the grand staircase, my heels clicking against marble, I smiled. Let them think I'm properly chastised. Let them believe they've put me in my place. I had a mysterious meeting tomorrow, and for the first time since saying I do, I felt truly awake. The coffee shop was tucked away in a quiet corner of downtown, far from the polished cafes where Delilah's circle held their morning meetings. I'd dressed down in jeans and a sweater, my wedding ring turned inward. A small act of rebellion that felt strangely liberating. "You must be Daphne." I looked up to find a man in his early 30s watching me with keen interest. His outfit probably cost more than my car, but he wore it with the casual confidence of someone who didn't need to prove anything. "And you're the mysterious emailer?" I asked, standing to shake his hand. "Finn Barnes," he said, sliding into the seat across from me. "Founder of Barnes Tech, though I'm guessing your in-laws never mentioned me." My coffee cup froze halfway to my lips. Everyone in tech knew Barnes Tech. They'd revolutionized cloud security 2 years ago. No, they never did. Not surprising. His smile held an edge. Hugo Stone and I have history. Let's just say he's not a fan of foster kids who crash his country club parties. "You were in foster care?" "Until I aged out. Then I lived in my car while coding my first startup." He leaned forward. "That's why your proposal caught my attention. You want to give kids like me a chance before they hit those walls." My heart raced. "But how did you even see my proposal? I only shared it with the Stone family's charitable foundation." They may have laughed, but their junior administrator was impressed. She sent it my way. I pulled out my laptop, opening the presentation I'd worked on for months. "It's not just coding classes. I want to create a full pipeline, mentorship, internships, college prep." "Show me," he said simply. For the next hour, we dove deep into the details. Finn asked sharp questions, pointed out gaps, suggested improvements. It felt like being back in my element, speaking a language I'd almost forgotten. "You know your stuff," he said finally. "So why did you quit tech?" I stared into my cold coffee. "Love, or what I thought was love." He pulled out his phone, typing quickly. "Check your email." A new message appeared, an invitation to tour Barnes Test, their educational division. "I'm not offering funding, yet." Finn's eyes met mine. "But I'm offering mentorship. Prove this can work, start small, show results, then we'll talk serious backing." "My husband's family doesn't need to know." He stood up. "Unless you're afraid." I thought of Delilah's laughter, of Caden's silence, of dreams gathering dust. "I'm not afraid, but I'll need help protecting my assets if they find out." "Already thought of that. Meet Hallie for lunch tomorrow. She's expecting you." "Wait, how do you know Hallie?" "I don't, but she's the top rising partner at Marshall Legal, and she specialises in non-profit law. Do your homework, Daphne, like I did on you." That evening I sat in my friend Sarah's garage, surrounded by old computers she'd helped me collect. 3 teenagers hunched over keyboards, following my instruction on basic HTML. "This is cool, Miss D," said Natalia, a quiet girl who'd picked up coding faster than the others. "But why are we meeting here instead of, like, a real classroom?" "Sometimes," I said, helping her debug a line of code. "The best things start in garages." My phone buzzed, a text from Caden. "Where are you? Mother's hosting dinner." Then another message, this one from an unknown number. "First rule of revenge, let them think they've won. F." I texted Caden back, "Sorry, lost track of time at yoga, coming home now." Closing my laptop, I watched Natalia figure out the bug herself, her face lighting up with achievement. This was real. This mattered. Walking to my car, I found an envelope tucked under the windshield wiper. Inside were copies of sponsorship letters I'd mailed last week, letters that never reached their destinations. My hand shook as I recognised Caden's handwriting on the "Return to Sender" stamps. The game, it seemed, was already on. Good thing I was finally ready to play. "Darling, your posture is divine, but your networking needs work," Zara whispered, steering me through another glittering charity luncheon. "Stop avoiding Delilah's friends. That's exactly where you need to be." I'd met Zara, a PR specialist with a razor-sharp mind, through Finn's connections. She'd taken one look at my situation and declared me her pet project. "Remember," she continued, "you're not avoiding them anymore. You're studying them." I plastered on my best society smile and approached a cluster of women surrounding my mother-in-law. "Delilah, the event is wonderful. I'd love to help with the next volunteer committee." Delilah's perfectly lined eyes narrowed slightly. "How enthusiastic, though shouldn't you be focusing on settling into married life?" "Oh, but I am," I gushed, channeling everything Zara had taught me. Caden's so busy with work. I have all this free time. I've been absolutely inspired by your dedication to philanthropy." Margaret, Delilah's closest friend, brightened. "We could always use help with the Children's Hospital fundraiser." "Perfect," I beamed. "I'd love to handle the social media outreach, engage younger donors." 2 hours later, I had 3 committee positions and access to the contact lists I needed. Zara found me in the powder room, touching up my lipstick. "Not bad," she said, checking for eavesdroppers. "But you do realise Delilah's going to watch you like a hawk now." "Let her. Every minute she spends watching me stuff envelopes is a minute she's not noticing what I'm really building." Back in Sarah's garage that evening, I watched Natalia lead a debugging session with 2 new students. In just weeks, she'd gone from barely knowing what coding was to teaching others. "Ms. D?" Natalia hung back after class. "My school's shutting down the computer lab. Budget cuts." My heart sank. "All of it?" "Yeah, and—" She hesitated. "My foster mum says if I can't find somewhere else to practice, maybe I should focus on something more practical instead." I thought of Finn, living in his car while coding his future. Of myself at 16, teaching myself JavaScript on a library computer. "Not happening," I said, pulling out my phone. "Give me 2 days." That night I worked my new society connections. Smiled, flattered, dropped casual mentions of at-risk youth and digital literacy. By morning, I had 3 donors willing to fund a pilot program. "Impressive," Finn said when I called him with the news. "But be careful, success makes noise." He was right. A week later, I found myself cornered by Delilah at her weekly tennis club lunch. "Darling," she said, voice dripping honey, "I hear you've been quite busy with your little computer classes." "Just volunteer work," I said lightly. "Nothing serious." She sipped her wine. Margaret's niece runs a proper coding academy. Perhaps you should leave education to the professionals." "You're probably right," I agreed, watching her shoulders relax. "Oh, but before I forget, would you mind if I borrowed your blue Chanel for the benevolence ball? You wear it so perfectly, and I'd love to make you proud." The flattery worked. By dessert, she was back to ignoring me. That afternoon, Natalia showed me her college application essay. "I wrote about how coding changed my life," she said shyly. "About finding my voice through technology." I blinked back tears, remembering my own journey. "It's perfect." My phone buzzed. A text from Zara. "Local magazine sniffing around your project. Not friendly. Damage control meeting tomorrow?" Then another from Hallie. "Got the incorporation docs. Ready when you are." And finally from Kaiden. "Where are you? Mother says you've been acting strange." I looked at Natalia, still beaming over her essay, at the garage full of second-hand laptops and second-chance dreams, at the carefully constructed house of cards I'd built while playing the perfect society wife. "Ms. D?" Natalia asked. "You okay?" I smiled, thinking of Delilah's smug face, of Caden's betrayal, of all the doors they'd tried to slam in my face. "Never better," I said. "Now, show me that code you were working on." Let them come. I was done hiding in the shadows. "When were you planning to tell me about this?" Caden slammed the incorporation documents onto our bedroom dresser, his face flushed with anger. I carefully closed my laptop, where I'd been reviewing grant applications. "I wasn't aware I needed your permission to volunteer." "Volunteer?" He laughed harshly. "You registered a non-profit using our address." "Actually," I said, keeping my voice steady, "I used Hallie's office address, and it's my non-profit, not ours." "You're my wife. Everything you do reflects on our family." "Our family?" I stood up slowly. "You mean the family that intercepts my mail? That laughs at my dreams? That family?" His face paled. "You found the letters. Did your mother tell you to do it, or was that your own idea?" Instead of answering, he yanked open his desk drawer and pulled out more papers. "Speaking of mother, she reminded me about this little clause in our prenup." I took the document, my hands trembling slightly as I read. There, in legal language I'd been too love-blind to scrutinise before our wedding, was a poison pill. Any misuse of the Stone family name or reputation could leave me penniless in a divorce. "So that's why you married me so quickly," I said softly. "What was the rush, Kaiden? What scandal needed covering up?" He flinched. "That's not— You don't understand the pressure I'm under." "Actually, I do." I picked up my phone. "Hallie, you can come up now." Our bedroom door opened, revealing not just Hallie, but also Finn. Caden's face went from pale to ashen. "What's he doing here?" "Protecting my investment," Finn said coolly. "Your wife's foundation is doing impressive work. Would be a shame if someone tried to sabotage it." Hallie stepped forward, all business. "We've reviewed the prenuptial agreement. Interesting timing on its execution, just days after the Anderson scandal broke. The one about embezzlement in Stone Industries' charity wing." "How did you—" Caden stumbled back. "Your father needed a quick marriage to a squeaky clean philanthropist to distract the press," Hallie continued. "Someone with actual charitable intentions. Enter Daphne, the perfect cover story." My throat tightened as pieces fell into place. "Is that why you pursued me so intensely? Why you proposed after only 3 months?" "I loved you," Caden protested weakly. "I still love you." "No," I said. "You loved my useful image." The humble tech girl turned society wife. Perfect for burying bad press. Finn moved closer, his presence somehow both threatening and reassuring. "Your mother destroyed my mother's foundation 15 years ago. Called in favours, froze funding, all because we weren't their kind. Sound familiar?" "That was different," Caden muttered. "Was it?" Finn pulled out his phone. "Because I have proof that your family's foundation has been misappropriating funds for years. Imagine the headlines." "Are you blackmailing me?" "No," I cut in. "We're warning you. Leave my foundation alone. Let me do my work, or everything comes out." "Mother will never—" "Mother isn't here," I snapped. "For once in your life, Caden, make your own choice." He stared at me for a long moment, then slumped. "What do you want?" "Distance, independence, and your silence." After he left, Hallie squeezed my hand. "You okay?" "No," I admitted. "But I will be. What's next?" "Natalia's school called," Finn said. "They're closing the tech lab next week." I straightened my spine, pushing personal pain aside. "Then we move faster. Call Zara. It's time to go public." "The Stones won't like that," Hallie warned. "Good," I said, picking up the prenup and deliberately ripping it in half. "Let them try to stop me now." My phone buzzed. A text from Delilah. "Dinner tomorrow. We need to discuss your recent behaviour." I showed it to Finn, who smiled grimly. "Ready to play hardball?" "They never saw me coming," I replied, thinking of all the nights I'd swallowed their insults with a smile. Now they'll never see me stop. Looking out our bedroom window at the manicured Stone estate grounds, I felt something shift inside me. The last traces of the naive girl who married into this family were finally falling away. Good riddance. The Stone family declined to comment on allegations that their daughter-in-law's charity work is embarrassing to their social standing. I read aloud from the Society magazine's scathing article. "Sources close to the family suggest the former software engineer should focus on more appropriate pursuits." Zara snatched the magazine from my hands. "They want to play dirty? Fine. Natalia, you're up." We were gathered in Finn's downtown office, preparing our counterattack. Natalia fidgeted with her blazer, the new one Zara had insisted on buying for her presentation. "But what if I mess up?" she asked. "You won't," I assured her. "Just tell your story, like we practiced." An hour later, I watched from the wings as Natalia took the stage at our hastily arranged Youth Tech Demo Day. Livestream numbers were climbing. Zara's media contacts had done their job well. "Before Ms. D's programme," Natalia began, her voice gaining strength, "I thought coding was for other people, rich people, not foster kids like me." The audience leaned in, phones raised to record. "Now I'm building apps, teaching other kids, and yesterday—" She paused, fighting tears. I got my first college acceptance letter, full scholarship to study computer science. The applause was deafening. I spotted several prominent donors in the crowd dabbing their eyes. Boom, Zara whispered, showing me her phone. The live stream comments were exploding with support. Let's see them call this embarrassing. My own phone buzzed. Delilah. I stepped into the hallway to answer. What do you think you're doing? She hissed. Changing lives, I replied calmly. You should try it sometime. This ends now. You will cease this ridiculous crusade, or what? I cut in. You'll freeze my funding? Too late. Ban me from your boards. Already building my own. Face it, Delilah. You're not in control anymore. You ungrateful little... I have to go. My students need me. Back inside, Finn was announcing our first major grant. $500,000, he declared, to expand the program across 5 new locations. The crowd erupted again. I scanned the room, noting which society wives were furiously texting, no doubt reporting back to Delilah. Ms. D, Natalia called out after the event. Look! She showed me her phone. Her story had gone viral. Iki Tech for All was trending. Told you, I smiled, hugging her. Your voice matters. Later that evening, Zara burst into my office. They're trying to block you from the Benevolence Ball Committee. I looked up from my grant paperwork. Let me guess, Delilah? She's calling in favours, saying you're unstable, that you're using charity for personal gain. I laughed. Projection much? This isn't funny, Zara insisted. The ball is where all major donor decisions happen, without access. We make our own access, I interrupted, pulling up an email. Remember that politician who came to our demo day? Turns out he knew Natalia's brother from his time in the shelter system. He's nominated us for the Social Impact Award. Zara's eyes widened. The one they present at the ball, the one Delilah's foundation always wins? Not this year. My phone lit up with a text from Kaiden. Mother's furious, says you're destroying everything she's built. I typed back, no, I'm building something better. Another message arrived, this one from Finn. Dinner tonight, need to discuss strategy. Looking around my office, at Natalia's college acceptance letter framed on the wall, at the photos of our growing student body, at the pile of supporter messages, I felt a fierce pride. Ms. D? One of our new students poked her head in. Can you help me debug this code? Of course, I said, standing up. That's what I'm here for. Zara watched me grab my laptop. They'll hit back harder, you know. Let them, I replied, thinking of all the Natalias out there waiting for their chance. We're just getting started. I'd learned something valuable from the Stones after all. The best revenge isn't served cold. It's served with a smile, a strategic plan, and an army of supporters they never saw coming. The benevolence ball glittered with old money and older grudges. I adjusted my dress, midnight blue, cut exactly like Delilah's signature style but tailored to perfection, and caught Zara's approving nod from across the room. Ready? Finn appeared at my elbow, looking devastating in his tuxedo. Born ready, I replied, accepting his offered arm. Is everything in place? Hallie's got the papers, Natalia's backstage, and... He smiled wickedly. The press is very interested in my surprise announcement. We made our entrance, turning heads. I spotted Kaiden at the bar, already 3 drinks in. Delilah held court near the stage, resplendent in her usual white gown, though her smile faltered when she saw us. Daphne, Margaret intercepted us. That dress is familiar. Isn't it? I smiled sweetly. Delilah's always been such an inspiration. The first hour passed in a blur of calculated small talk and strategic positioning. I played my part perfectly, humble, gracious, slightly apologetic about all the fuss my foundation had caused. Then the lights dimmed. Ladies and gentlemen, the MC announced, please welcome this year's Social Impact Award nominee presentation. Delilah straightened in her seat, clearly expecting her usual triumph. Instead, Natalia walked onto stage, poised and powerful in her new suit. 6 months ago, I was a statistic, she began, a foster kid with no future. Today, I'm a full-stack developer with 3 college acceptances." The room hushed. Even the waiters stopped to listen. Ms. D, Daphne, didn't just teach me to code. She showed me that dreams don't have a social class, that innovation doesn't care about your last name. I caught Delilah's eye across the room. She was gripping her champagne glass so tightly I thought it might shatter. "And now," Natalia continued, "I'd like to introduce someone who believes in that vision, Mr. Finn Barnes." Finn squeezed my hand before taking the stage. "Thank you, Natalia. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to announce Barnes Tech's largest charitable investment to date, $10 million to the Tech Future Foundation." The gasps were audible. Caden spilled his drink. "But more than money," Finn continued, his voice carrying authority. "We're investing in leadership, in vision, in someone who reminds me of myself at my hungriest, brilliant, unstoppable, and told no by all the wrong people." He turned to face me directly. "Daphne, would you join us?" Walking to that stage felt like floating. Every step carried the weight of vindication. "Together," I said into the microphone, "we're not just teaching code, we're rewriting the rules about who gets to succeed in tech, and we're just getting started." The applause was thunderous. Society matrons who'd snubbed me months ago now rushed to shake my hand. Donors pressed business cards into my palm. "This is outrageous," Delilah hissed, cornering me by the champagne fountain. "You're making a mockery of everything we stand for." "No," I replied calmly. "I'm building everything you pretend to stand for." "Mother?" Caden appeared, swaying slightly. Everyone staring. They were. The crowd had grown silent, watching our confrontation with hungry eyes. "Well," the MC's voice cut through the tension, "Mrs. Stone, as chair of the awards committee, would you like to say a few words about this exciting announcement?" Delilah froze, every eye in the room fixed on her, waiting. For the first time in my memory, she had no cutting remark, no social manipulation to deploy. She started, then stopped. "Actually," I stepped forward, "I'd like to thank my mother-in-law. Without her inspiration, I might never have found the strength to build something of my own." The crowd murmured appreciatively at my apparent graciousness. Only Delilah caught the steel beneath my smile. "If you'll excuse me," I added, "I see some students who'd like to demonstrate their latest project." As I walked away, Finn fell into step beside me. That was masterful. "It's not over," I warned, watching Delilah retreat from the ballroom, her white dress like a surrender flag. "No," he agreed, his hand finding the small of my back. "But now everyone knows which way the wind is blowing." And in that moment, surrounded by victory and vindication, I finally felt the last chains of the Stone family's influence fall away. I was free, and I was just getting started. Breaking news: Tech Visionary Challenges Social Elite. The headline screamed the next morning. My phone hadn't stopped buzzing since the ball ended. "Your inbox is exploding," Zara reported, bursting into my office with coffee. "3 major tech companies want partnerships. Forbes wants an interview and—" She paused dramatically. "Delilah's biggest donor just pulled their annual commitment to her foundation." I set down my laptop. "What?" Apparently they're realigning their charitable giving with more progressive initiatives. In other words, you. Before I could respond, Hallie rushed in. "Turn on the news, now." The financial channel was running a special report. Stone Industries under investigation for charitable fund mismanagement. "That wasn't us," I said quickly. "No," Hallie agreed. "Looks like your little power play at the ball inspired some whistleblowers to come forward. The house of cards is falling, Daff." My office door slammed open. Caden stood there, looking dishevelled and desperate. "We need to talk, privately." I nodded to Hallie and Zara, who reluctantly left us alone. "Father's furious," he said, pacing. "Our stock is tanking. Mother hasn't stopped crying. This investigation, our reputation. Karma's interesting that way." He whirled on me. "Is that what this is to you? Revenge?" "No," I said quietly. "This is justice. For every person your family stepped on. For every dream they mocked. For every charity they destroyed to maintain their power." I loved you, he whispered. I still love you. No, you loved what I represented. The perfect wife who'd help whitewash your family's sins. That's not... When was the last time you asked about my dreams, Caden? When was the last time you defended me against your mother's cruelty? He slumped into a chair. I can change. We can fix this. There's nothing to fix. I pulled out a manila envelope. Divorce papers. My lawyers have already drawn them up. You'll get nothing, he threatened weakly. The prenup is void due to material misrepresentation at the time of signing. You really should have told me about the embezzlement investigation before our wedding. His face crumpled. Please, I don't know who I am without you. That's your problem to solve now. After he left, Finn appeared in my doorway. You okay? Getting there. I gestured to the chair across from my desk. Did you know about the investigation? Not until this morning, though I may have pointed some journalists in interesting directions over the years. I studied him carefully. Why did you really help me? Because 15 years ago, Delilah destroyed my mother's mental health along with her foundation. Because talent shouldn't be measured by zip code. Because... He hesitated. Because you remind me of everything I fought to become. The air between us crackled with unspoken possibilities. My phone buzzed. Natalia. Ms. D, MIT accepted me early decision. Joy burst through the emotional exhaustion. I'll be right there. Go, Finn smiled. Your students need you. In the coding lab, Natalia was surrounded by celebrating teens. Their excitement was contagious, their futures suddenly wide open. Ms. D, one of the younger girls asked, will we really get to intern at Barnes Tech next summer? If you keep working hard, absolutely. My phone lit up again. Zara. Delilah just resigned from 3 charity boards. The empire's crumbling. Then Hallie. Stone Industries stock down 30%. Kaiden's being pushed out of leadership. And finally, an email from Hugo. You've won. Name your price to end this quietly. I looked around the lab at these bright young minds coding their way to better futures. At Natalia, already teaching younger students. At everything we'd built from the ashes of humiliation. No price, I typed back. Just consequences. Finn appeared in the doorway again, watching me with undisguised admiration. Ready for the board meeting? They're waiting. I gathered my things, pausing to help debug a student's code. In just months, we'd grown from a garage operation to a force for real change. The Stone family's social destruction was just a bonus. Coming, I said, straightening my shoulders. We've got futures to build. As I passed Delilah's crumpled Society magazine in the trash, I smiled. Sometimes the best revenge isn't just success. It's succeeding exactly the way they said you couldn't. The autumn breeze carried the sound of laughter from the coding lab's open windows. Inside, Natalia stood at the front of our newest facility, teaching a room full of eager students while reporters snapped photos for their Tech Revolution feature. And that's how we debug a recursive function, she concluded, earning appreciative nods from the visiting Silicon Valley executives. I lingered in the doorway, remembering a broken champagne glass and mocking laughter that felt like a lifetime ago. Ms. D! A young student waved excitedly. Did you see? My app got accepted to the startup incubator. Before I could respond, my phone buzzed. A text from Hallie. Turn on the news now. The students were already pulling up live streams on their laptops. There, looking smaller than I remembered, stood Delilah outside the federal courthouse. Stone Industries has agreed to restructure its charitable foundation, she read mechanically. I personally apologise for any oversight failures. Oversight failures? Zara appeared beside me, smirking. That's a funny way to say systematic fraud. I switched off the stream. Back to work, everyone. Real change happens in classrooms, not courtrooms. Speaking of change, Finn's voice came from behind me. The board approved our expansion to 5 more cities. The students cheered. We'd grown from a garage dream to a national movement, with graduates already making waves in the tech industry. Ms. D, Natalia approached after class. I got offered a summer internship at 3 different companies, including Stone Industries. I raised an eyebrow. Really? Caden's replacement is big on reform, but... She smiled slyly. I'm going with Barnes Tech instead. Good choice. Later that evening, I sat in my new office, reviewing applications for our next cohort. A familiar figure appeared in my doorway. Hello, Mother, I said without looking up. Delilah stepped in hesitantly, her designer outfit impeccable as always, but somehow deflated. Your security let me up. I told them to. I knew you'd come eventually. She sank into a chair, looking around at the awards and student projects decorating my walls. You've built something remarkable. I know. I underestimated you. We all did. I finally met her gaze. That was your mistake, not mine. Caden misses you, she tried. Caden misses his shield against scandal. How is he enjoying his new job in the mailroom? She flinched. We've lost everything. No, I corrected. You lost your illusion of power. There's a difference. And what would it take to... She hesitated. Rebuild? I stood up, walking to the window overlooking the city. See that building there? That's our new youth centre. And that one? Tech incubator for low-income entrepreneurs. Your everything built nothing. My nothing built this. I see that now, she whispered. Good. I turned back to her. Because that's all you get to do now. Watch, from the outside. After she left, Finn found me still standing at the window. You okay? Better than okay, I realised. I'm free. He moved closer, his presence warm and solid. Dinner? Actually, I smiled, I have a better idea. An hour later, we sat in Sarah's garage, surrounded by old computers and new dreams. I ran my fingers over the scratched desk where it all began. Sometimes I wonder, I admitted, if revenge changed me, made me harder. No, Finn said softly. It made you stronger. There's a difference. My phone lit up with messages. Natalia sharing her latest code breakthrough, Hallie confirming another Stone Industries executive's indictment, Zara sending press coverage of our latest success. You know what the best revenge really was? I said, standing to leave, building something they can't tear down, something that will outlast their spite. Speaking of building, Finn caught my hand. Have dinner with me, not as mentor and mentee, not as business partners, just us. I looked at our intertwined fingers, feeling possibilities unfold. Yes. Walking out, I passed a framed photo of that first garage class. Below it hung my original note. They laughed at my dreams. I didn't need to finish the thought anymore. The empire of opportunity rising around us said everything necessary. Let them laugh. We'll be too busy changing the world to hear them.